are doing well. Today, we will talk about human rights and fundamental rights. Rights are certain claims that people are entitled to have that are protected by the law. The Indian Constitution has approved laws to meet the needs of society. In the instance where a person's rights are not respected, they can go to court to make sure their rights are protected. In spite of these efforts made for equality, people still face discrimination. Let us look at the learning outcomes. Learning outcomes. What are rights? Human rights, fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right to life, right against exploitation. Right to freedom of religion, right to education and culture. Human Rights Commission, violation of human rights. Keywords: aristocrats, the highest class in certain societies. Typically comprising people of noble birth, holding hereditary titles or offices. Bourgeoisie, the social group between the rich and the poor. Forbid, order someone not to do something. Obligation, something that a person feels morally or legally forced to do. Immoral, not conforming to socially accepted standards of morality. Let us look at this concept map. What are rights? Rights are fair demands that are protected by the law. We all want to be happy and respected, and we must protect everyone's right. In the past, black people were sold as slaves, and women could not own property. Which was unfair and violated their rights. Today, we understand that it is wrong. Democracies approve of everyone to have equal opportunities. In democracies, people can share their thoughts and choose who they want to represent them. through voting. The Indian Constitution protects everyone's rights, regardless of their backgrounds. Basic human rights are important and safeguarded by the Constitution and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the UN. Human rights. Human rights and fundamental rights are meant to protect people but are different in their origin, enforceability, and interpretation. Human rights are universal and include obligations, while fundamental rights vary from one country to another and can be mainly claimed against the state only. Fundamental rights. Part 3 of the Indian Constitution mentions fundamental rights. They protect people from unacceptable decisions made by the government, and the government must follow them. If someone refuses to respect the fundamental rights, people can go to the High or Supreme Court. The court can help the people in availing their fundamental rights and punish the rule breakers. Right to equality. The Indian Constitution guarantees the right to equality. It includes, most notably, the following rights: equal protection of law. The law treats everyone equally, regardless of their financial status or origin. All people are protected equally, regardless of caste, religion, gender, birthplace, or job. Even the Prime Minister can be taken to court like anyone else. This is called the rule of law. Social equality. Social equality. Social equality is a right that states that the government cannot treat citizens differently on the basis of their religion, race, caste, sex, or birthplace. Citizens have the right to use public places like shops, restaurants, and roads, regardless of these factors. This prevents discrimination, unfair treatment by the government. There are two exceptions to this law. The state can make special rules for women, children, and socially or educationally disadvantaged people and scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Equality of opportunity. The Constitution guarantees fair chances for everyone to get jobs and work for the government, regardless of their background. But the state can still reserve positions for underrepresented and marginalized groups to empower them. Abolition of untouchability. The Constitution bans untouchability and can punish those who practice it with appropriate measures including jail time. The law punishes the blocking of granting access to worship or availing water sources under the Civil Rights Act. Abolition of title. The Constitution bans titles for aristocrats and bourgeoisie. Indian citizens are not permitted to use British titles like Rawal Bahadur anymore. As an exception to this, military and academic honors are allowed, but not foreign titles. Awards like Bharat Ratna, Paramveer Chakra and Padma Vibhushan cannot be used as titles, but are not banned by the Constitution. Right to freedom. The Constitution of India guarantees important individual rights, including the right to freedom with the following 6 forms of freedoms. Freedom of speech and expression. People can speak and express themselves in public through meetings, art, and writing. However, this right can be limited for the sake of public safety, morals, and order. Movies are checked for the maintenance of decency. Rules limit what we can say, and we must be careful not to say mean or illegal things. We cannot encourage people to go against the government. freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. People can gather peacefully without weapons, but the state can limit it for maintaining public order. People are allowed to assemble for meetings, discussions, and protests, but require permission for it and cannot be violent. Freedom to form associations or unions. The government can restrict this freedom for the sake of order, morality, and India's sovereignty. People can form cultural, business, and trade unions. Unions are formed to protect workers' rights. Freedom to move freely. In India, all citizens can move around freely, but restrictions can be placed for public safety. This freedom can be restricted during outbreaks of diseases or in areas near borders for the protection of the country. Freedom to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. The state can limit this right for the collective well-being of everyone or to protect scheduled tribes. Freedom to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade, or business. Government can limit this right due to concerns of safety. No dangerous or immoral business can be conducted. Some jobs require qualifications which cannot be oversighted. The Constitution can impose limitations on rights. During emergencies, some rights can be suspended. Right to life. The Indian Constitution promises the right to life and liberty, including protection from punishment and suicide. Primary education is compulsory for children between the ages of 6 to 14 years. Schools are made available for all children and attendance required. This right exists to ensure that everyone can get a chance to learn, develop skills, and contribute to society. Everyone has the right to life, which means they have the right to know why they are being arrested and can choose to have a lawyer to help them. Right against exploitation. Forced labor is against the law. Making someone to work without pay is illegal. The court can provide assistance in such cases. Children under the age of 14 years cannot work in dangerous jobs. Jobs like making matches, carpets, crackers, and bidis are banned for children. Right to freedom of religion. The citizens can choose any religion or change it if they want to without breaking the law. India treats all religions equally. Right to education and culture. According to this right, the minorities can establish schools based on language or religion. It can depend on where they live. But the schools must meet some set requirements for ensuring funding. Right to constitutional remedies. People can take legal action against the government if their rights are violated. The court can decide to help in such cases. Public interest litigation, legal action, is for helping the citizen with issues related with the environment and government transparency. Scope of fundamental rights. The fundamental rights mentioned in the Constitution can change over time. New rights like the right to education can be added to the Constitution's list of rights. The Parliament can make changes in rights. The Supreme Court can also expand rights, like the right to food becoming part of the right to life. Other institutions and rights. Rights came from the Magna Carta and the French Revolution. The UN, United Nations, was created after the event of the world wars to prevent major wars in the future. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has 30 articles, which all UN member nations are required to follow or face consequences. Human Rights Commission. The UN protects human rights. The India Made Law and NHRC. National Human Rights Commission investigates cases of violations of human rights. And recommends ways to protect rights. Police brutality, arrest without reason, lack of information, corruption, violence against women, delayed investigations, discrimination, and such are seen as violation of human rights. These violations still persist because of ignorance. It is the duty of the government to protect human rights. In case of violations, complaints can be made to state commissions. Conclusion. Human and fundamental rights protect people, but differ in origin, scope, and enforceability. Human rights are universal and include obligations, while fundamental rights vary by country and are mainly claimed against the state.